Welcome back to Cooking for Two 101. I'm Christy, that's John. Today, we happen to be in the middle of a snowstorm in February. We have 10 inches of snow outside, and John said, you know, it sounds good. Beef Egg Foo Young. And you know what I said? We ain't going anywhere, so let's make it. That's what we're making today. Beef Egg Foo Young. Come on, let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is marinate the beef. And even if you're using chicken, you still want to marinate it. You can also do this with shrimp, but shrimp cooks very quickly and there's not really any time to marinate. You don't need to cook it ahead of time, which is what we're going to do with the beef. This is a flat iron. You can see all the grains of the beef running this way, and we are going to cut it long ways against the grain. And our goal is to make small little pieces of beef. We're going to marinate the beef and then we're going to sear it and get a nice little crust on the outside. So it's going to take me a couple minutes, but basically we're just making chunks like that. We'll be back when we're ready to move on. So that was about 1/3 of a pound, and I cut it up into little chunks like that. We're going to put it in a bowl, and then we're going to make our marinade, which is super easy. You should probably have all of this stuff at home, quite frankly. I have 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce, 1 teaspoon of toasted sesame oil. This stuff goes a long way, so be gentle with it. And I'm going to go with about a tablespoon of white sugar. We're just going to mix this together like that. And a quick dash of pepper. I don't have white powdered pepper. I would use that if I did. But like I said, I can't go anywhere. So we're going to use this pepper. All right, this needs to sit on the countertop for about a half an hour. And after that, we'll move on. Okay, beef is marinating. We're going to get the vegetables ready. I have grated 1 carrot. I have diced up about 4 or 5 shallots. I saved some in the green for garnish later, and we're going to use this to sear the beef in. But before we do any of that, we are going to just parboil our mung beans. You could also use bean sprouts or whatever you have. But we want it to get just a little bit cooked. We don't want to overcook our eggs in our Egg Foo Young. So this eliminates that from happening. Boiling it in water 2 minutes, then we're going to strain it. Be right back. Okay, it's been a couple minutes. I'm gently going to carry this over to the sink and pour the water out. We've got to get all those friends out. We need them all. And then it's very important to get as much water out of here as you can. And in order to do that, I'm just going to use another bowl, press the water out. Just like that. Okay. The next most important part about the vegetables is that they're cool, because we don't want to put raw eggs on hot vegetables. They'll cook. We don't want that. So we're going to let them sit here and cool. In the meantime, we're going to sear our meat. I got a nice 12-inch skillet. I'm going to put it on medium-high heat. It's already pretty warm because we used it to cook the sprouts in. I'm going to put a little bit of vegetable oil in here, probably about a tablespoon. And while that's heating up, I'm going to toss our beef with a little bit, and by a little bit I mean maybe a tablespoon of cornstarch. The cornstarch is going to do 2 things. It's going to help caramelize the meat in the short amount of time that we're cooking it. It's going to tenderize it just a little bit, but it's also going to thicken the sauce, which is awesome. We really want that. Okay, as soon as that's hot, we'll get started. Okay, there's a couple ways to tell if the oil is hot enough. Number 1, it's shiny like this. Number 2, it's smoking. That means it's too hot. Or number 3, stick a little wooden spoon in there and watch it bubble. Are we bubbling? There we go. See that? That means it's hot enough. You want it at about 325, 350. And I'm just going to pour in our marinated beef. And it will instantly smell like heaven in your house. You're welcome. Okay, we're going to sear this a couple minutes on each side. As soon as it's ready to go, we'll be back. Okay, we're seeing some caramelization on the corners of the meat. The smell is amazing. And we're going to pull it out now and we're going to start the gravy. We want to do the gravy next because we want to use all the fond from this meat in the pan to put in our gravy. This isn't working. Okay, we're going to add just another tablespoon of vegetable oil. Set that to the side because it needs to cool down. It's going to go in with our vegetables and the eggs, and we don't want that to be hot. Oh, come on. Are you kidding me? There we go. Okay. First, we're going to saute the green parts of the scallions in the hot oil along with the fond from the beef. This is going to flavor the oil and make your gravy taste amazing. It's going to take a couple minutes, maybe like, I don't know, 1.5, 2 minutes. We'll be right back. A couple minutes in, we're going to add 1/4 of a diced white onion, and we're going to saute that until it's a little bit translucent and you can smell it. It's about 2 minutes. Right after that, we'll add a teaspoon of minced garlic. We'll be right back. All right, adding some minced garlic. Just going to toss it about for literally seconds. As soon as you can start to smell it, you want to add the liquid so that it doesn't burn. And that's it, we're done. I'm going to add 2 cups of beef broth. If I was making chicken Egg Foo Young, I would use chicken broth. If I was using shrimp, I would probably use chicken broth also. We're going to bring this up to a simmer, and we're also going to add a little cornstarch slurry, and that's what's going to thicken it up. But before we do that, we're going to add our yummy seasonings. We're going to add 1 tablespoon of soy, 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce. Come on, sauce. There we go. And a little splash of toasted sesame oil. Remember what I said, it goes a long way. Pepper. Mix to combine. And while that's coming up to heat, we're going to make a little slurry. I have about 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch, and this is cold water. I'm going to add cold water to the cornstarch and stir it about with my whisk to get it to combine. This doesn't work if it's warm water. It has to be either room temperature or cold water. Stir it together. You don't want it to be super thick over here. You want it kind of runny. Maybe a little more. See how thick and milky looking it is? And add a little bit more water, thin it out. All right, there we go. Now we're talking. In the meantime, you sort of want to toss around your warm vegetables. Those are looking good. And the meat. We're trying to get these to cool off. So keep stirring them in your spare time so they're not piping hot when we move on. Okay, we got some bubbling here, yay. I'm going to add this slurry. I'm going to add about half of it at the beginning, bring it up to a little simmer, and see how it goes. Not only does it thicken your sauce, it also makes it glossy, and that consistency helps it stick to the Egg Foo Young later when we put this gravy on. It's going to be great. Okay, I'm going to add a little more. And I'm going to bring it up to a boil. I'll come back when I'm ready. Okay, it's nice and thick. You can draw a spoon and it sort of splits apart like that. That's what you want to see. So now we're going to take it out of the pan because we're going to cook our the egg part in here. So that's the tricky part. I'm going to put it in this measuring cup because it has a pour spout and a handle, which will make it way easier for me later. Okay. The vegetables and the meat are now going to get together. I have the shredded carrot, I have some scallions, the bean sprouts that we parboiled, and then this is the seared beef. It's nice and cool, room temperature. You don't want any heat on this. Stick them in there and toss them around, give them a little head start. Then we're going to add a couple tablespoons of flour and 3 or 4 eggs. Oops, I was supposed to measure that. My bad. All right, we're gonna sprinkle over. Here's a tablespoon to start with. And this is what's gonna make the Egg Foo Young part fluffy. So it's sort of important. I'm also gonna give this a little pinch of salt to go with the flour, because flour doesn't taste like anything. Toss these around. Oh yeah, starting to make that little cakey batter like a pancake, which is what we want to see. Now we're going to break some eggs. A lot of recipes do this part in a separate bowl and sort of whisk them together, but I read somewhere or saw somewhere that that makes them kind of runny and watery, I guess, and we don't want any extra water in this, that's for sure. So I'm just going to fold these in. I'm going to clean up my pan and get some oil heating, and then we'll make our dish. We'll be right back. Okay, I'm just going to check the oil. Ooh, we got bubbles. That's a good sign. This is what our mixture looks like. It's sort of like a thick pancake batter. We're going to use this ladle to dollop them into the pan. You sort of want to bring all these little fun pieces inside so it doesn't wind up looking like a spider. Just gently pour it into the oil. This is a shallow fry. There's probably about 1/4 of an inch of oil in this pan, so depending on how big your pan is, this is probably, I don't know, 1/3 of a cup of oil, maybe a little more. I'm just going to do 2 at a time. I don't want the pan to get too cold because if you put too much in, that's what happens, and then it just absorbs all the oil and doesn't fry. All right, there we go. There's our 2 little friends. We're going to let them cook around. Don't disturb them too much at the beginning. We want that bottom to set. As soon as they start to float to the top, though, that's when you can start moving them about a bit. Another thing you can do, just to facilitate the process, is to splash some hot oil up on the top in the middle. That way that starts to cook at this point as well. But be careful. Obviously, this oil is hot. Okay, we'll be back when it's time to flip them over. Okay, so they're not sticking to the pan. That means they're cooked on the bottom. They have released themselves. They're starting to get beautifully browned around the edges. So I'm going to flip this over. Please flip it away from yourself and not towards your cameraman. Ugh, it's hard. There we go. There we go. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Golden brown and beautiful. Ooh, ah. All right, this side is probably going to take a little less time because we put the oil on the top, but maybe 2-3 minutes. We're going to put them out on this rack and let them drip, and we're going to cook the other 2. Then we'll be back when it's ready to serve. We got 4 beautiful egg patties. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I'm going to serve this alongside a scoop of rice. I just made the rice according to the package directions. I always like to saute my rice in a little bit of butter before I put the water in. It gives it a little nuttier flavor. It makes it delicious. Anyway, you do rice how you do rice. I'm going to put some of this beautiful gravy right over the top. Garnish it with our yummy, crunchy green onions. Ooh, they're flying everywhere. And now I'm going to let it cool off so I don't burn my mouth. I'll be right back. Okay, it's cooled off quite a bit. I'm very excited. It smells amazing. I'm gonna go in for a big, delicious bite. Oh, yum. It's just like a restaurant. This recipe is so easy and so good. You really got to give it a try. Actually, I think this is better than the last restaurant I tried it at. It's crispy. It's crunchy. It's got salt. It's got sweet. It's like a warm hug on a plate. It's wonderful. Okay, thanks for watching Cooking for Two 101. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends. Leave us a comment below. What would you like to see? All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.